Yeah, it's another reaction Thursday for you guys today. Today, we are going to be talking about something a little different. Today, we're going to talk about how to get to the tackle faster in football. Read and react, man. This is for my linebackers, defenders, D tackles, corners, safeties, anybody that's on defense, man. We gotta find the ball, man. That's the name of the game, bro. So first and foremost, we're gonna look at this film, LSU versus Alabama a couple years ago. This is when LSU had won the national championship, actually. And we got to understand what our responsibility is. So if you're out there and you don't understand your responsibility that the defensive coordinator gives you or that your coach gives you, you're gonna be lost out there. If you got B gap and you're a linebacker, you gotta be responsible for that B gap. If you're a D tackle and you got that A gap, you gotta take care of that A gap. If you're a defender, you got pass first usually. But if they're saying you want to blitz, you gotta do that. So you gotta understand what you're doing out there, man. That is very, very important. Second, when you're looking at your opponent, is there anything that they can tell you about what they're about to do? Like as you see on the screen, we're watching LSU and we're looking at LSU like what are they really kind of giving you? Well, if you look at the tackles right here, the tackles look like they're in a pass position. They look like they're about to be pass blocking. But we also know that in today's day and age, it's a possible that they could be running the ball as well. But let's see what they do on this play actually. Like we don't really see we're looking at the running back, but we don't really understand what his responsibility is. But I'm gonna slow this up so we can really get down to the nitty gritty, see what we can see here. And as I press play, just pay attention to your position. If you're a linebacker, look, they're reading their keys. Their first steps is forward. They see he hand the ball off, and they're clogging them up. That's actually a great defensive play. D-line did their job. Linebackers did their job. They made sure he didn't bounce out. I should have showed y'all the play before, but he's been bouncing out a lot of his runs. But because they trapped him in that, because everybody did their job, they collapsed on him. And as you see, we already know what the play is. He's going to run the ball. But as you see, look at the linebackers. They're communicating with the D-backs. They're communicating with everyone on that defense to make sure we know what we're doing out here. And just pay attention to your position, man. If you're a safety, pay attention how he takes his steps back first. You don't want to get caught not doing your job. They take their steps up first. All right, now it's okay. We collapsing down on them. So you gotta do your responsibility first, then find the ball, man. So once your responsibility is done, you gotta get to the ball, see the ball, get the ball, man. It's just that simple. And people try to overcomplicate defense so much, and they're like, oh well, you don't want to just go after the ball and you miss it. Nah, bro. That's not defense, bro. That's not defense, man. So let's see this next clip. We're gonna check it out. It's at 142. As you see, what we see out here, I see a whole lot. I see spread. I see there's a whole bunch of receivers out 5 wide, and as you could kind of see, I guess I should rewind it a little bit more, but it's gonna be hard to. This linebacker's running with this guy. So as I play it, they shuffle over, they shift the defense. Now, depending on your team, you gotta shift the defense when need be. You gotta shift to the strong side. If there's more people on one side and you know that there's a possibility they're going to go that way, you gotta shift the defense. But also you gotta pay attention to your defensive coordinator. If y'all aren't shifting that day, y'all aren't shifting against an opponent, do not shift. But you also want to be on the same page, make sure you understand where the ball's going. So pay attention to plays that they've ran before, pay attention to the film, pay attention to in the game. If they're loading up on one side and they're running the ball one side, you might want to start loading up you might want to shift a little bit. You might want to change your alignment. So as you see these guys shift there, I know Nick Saban does a lot of shifting a little bit. You want to shift on a run defense, but it looks like these guys are going up top. And look how everybody's locked in on their position. They're locked in on the ball. So I'm guessing this is zone. Low zone. Yep. and everybody's on their guy. And they forced Joe Burrow to run. Joe Burrow is very slippery, but they forced him to run because all the defensive backs was on their position, all their linebackers was in position. And D tackle did their job too, man. Like, people don't understand, coverage creates sacks, but sacks also create interceptions. So it's like the pressure creates the interceptions, but it's a two-way street. So if you're getting good pressure up front, but if they're covering people up back, the quarterback has nowhere to go, especially in passing responsibilities. So as you see, let's look at the Lions rush. They only rushed 4, it looks like, maybe 3. Yeah, 4. No, they only rushed 3. So it's not going to be too much. It's going to be a coverage sack for the most part. But these guys are really busting. They're trying to get to the ball because these guys, they know they're going to get covered. They got a lot of guys back. So they forced him in a position he didn't want to be in into running the ball. And let's check this last play out, man. Like, I like doing these videos because sometimes in explaining, it's hard to explain and get you guys to understand, like, the severity of this, like how serious this is. I know exactly what play this is, but as you see, let's read the room. These guys are in trips again, one back, and they've been in this position. They've been in this formation a lot this game. So as a coach, you probably have a base coverage for this, and as a linebacker or as a defensive back, any type of shifting, your coach should prepare you for this. You should know, okay, like, this is their base coverage, so we're probably going to play this like this. And you should also understand, like, if you have to shift at all or just a certain alignments that have to be done. Now, they didn't do a good job because they wasn't ready. But as you see, Trevon Diggs does Trevon Diggs things. So he gets the interception. As y'all see in the NFL, he's leading the league in interceptions right now. But what I really want you guys to really pay attention to here, and Trevon Diggs, I really want y'all to pay attention to him, especially my corners, safeties, any deep back there. Pay attention to him. You're not really going to see him in this screen, but you're going to see him at the end. And what I want y'all to pay attention to was he did his responsibility. His responsibility was a zone. He had a man coverage, and then he just bopped back out. He watched his man, and he was like, man, he ain't even going to this dude. And he went for the ball. Sometimes coaches are like, oh, well, don't go for the ball. We don't want you to miss it. And I'm going to rewind it some more so you can see it in full screen, because you can see it. You can see how he plays it. He plays it perfect. He watches his guy, sees that he's in the zone. He's like, okay, he's not going to him. Once the ball is thrown, he goes right back to that receiver. He knew, he watched film. He knew it was coming. So you got to make sure you're watching film, studying your opponent, and being the best that you could be. Also, make sure you're doing responsibility first. When you're looking at your opponent, is there anything that they could tell you about what they're about to do? And also, once you see the ball, get that ball, man. Peace. Check this video out on the screen if you want to be mean on that green, or real on that field, or extort on that court. The No Baller Left Behind Act supports this video. You feel me?